Chad got one, seconded by Pearson. Any discussion on any questions on it? We have Brian McMullen and John Sylvia here. Seeing none, all in favor? That carries 6-0. 10 all advisory committee event, and moving to seconder to put it on the floor. Moved by Vanderbeek, seconded by Wilson. Discussion on this. I think you had a question of staff, Councillor Clark. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I'm not a fast toggler. With regards to it was said in the conversation that in the past that different leaders of the different groups were getting together casually. Do we have any policies in place in terms of meetings occurring, of advisory committee meetings where the clerks are not present?
Andrea or Janet, one of you want to answer that? Andrea, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair. So any members where there is a quorum present of the committee should be clerked. Otherwise, it would be considered a closed meeting. We need to provide notification according to the procedural bylaw. We need to produce the agenda 5 days in advance. So any meetings where there is a quorum present of a committee, advisory committee, subcommittee, standing committee, council, we have to follow the rules of the procedure bylaw.
Councillor Clark.
Thank you. That's very helpful. It looks like this meeting is going to proceed, and it's going to be more of an introductory meeting so that everyone understands the roles of the different advisory committees, which I think is fine. Has the clerk given thought to the future of such broad-based advisory committee meetings for training purposes, for example, to ensure that they understand their obligations under different pieces of legislation, privacy, for example, and open meetings?
Clerk Holland.
Through the chair, yes, clerk staff do provide training to all staff liaisons, the chairs, the vice chairs at the beginning of the term of council. I know we are doing a refresher this spring as well. We've planned one for the staff liaisons and the chairs.
Okay. It just seems that if we're going to create a system where we can get these groups together, that we should make sure that they're getting the best advice and learning from the best people. So those are all my comments. I'm supportive of the gathering. It's just a question in the future in terms of, can we utilize it for training purposes and for I guess almost aspirational, bringing in speakers who would inspire these groups to things that they may want to tackle in as their role as advisory groups. Anyways, those are just my comments. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see anybody else requesting. Councillor Wilson? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. Just 2 quick questions through you, Chair, to Clerk Holland. The refresher this spring that you've just referenced in your conversation with Councillor Clark, is that driven by, is there a regular rollover in chairs annually for these advisory committees, or is that as a consequence of the conditions brought on by having to meet virtually, or both, please?
Clerk Holland?
Through the chair, it is for both.
Okay. And every advisory committee has that refresher with their chairs, whether they're new or existing.
We are putting together the training package now, and we'll be reaching out to the committees about that training through the staff liaisons.
Okay, thank you. My second question is something that was raised by Cameron, and I appreciate your answer. Councillor Clark, is there a possibility if the members of the advisory committee find these meetings to be, the first meeting anyway, to be beneficial and informative, that they could discuss having a rotating chair? Would that be possible in the future, or would that have to be done in like a sharing of the chair with someone from the city? If you could just clarify that. Thank you.
Through the chair. So when staff looked at this, what we want to ensure is that everybody participating has an opportunity to participate. We find the role of the chair is a very busy role in conducting the meeting. We also want to make sure that each committee has an opportunity to speak and share. And we feel that we would get that if we had someone an objective person, so a member of staff who has all of the chair training, is a confident chair, can run a meeting very well, is used to the procedural bylaw and the rules contained within it. So from my perspective, I'm more comfortable having a staff member lead those meetings. But certainly if committee wishes it to be different, I'd be happy to take that direction as well.
I appreciate
Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate what you just said. Sometimes it is harder or more challenging to engage when you're in the chair. The one thing I'm still struggling with, though, is my assumption is that part of the reason, or maybe the obligation of the municipality, is also for people who are volunteering their time, is to allow for those capacity building occasions where you can get the experience of chair, where maybe you maybe don't have that. And there are some of them who are chairing them right now, and we've already set out that they are obliged to follow almost the same rules that we are. So I just want clarity again, if the advisory committee's members who participate in this deemed it worthy to have a rotating chair in partnership with the clerks, could they make that decision or not? Through you, Chair.
Through the chair. So my recommendation is that that be a staff person.
Okay.
And if I can just interject for clarity, this is only for the all committee meetings, of which will be one in 2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
To the chair, yes, that's correct. It's just for the all citizen
Yeah, for
advisory
every
committee.
other normal advisory committee meetings, they'll have their own chair.
Through the to the chair, correct.
Okay, I just wanted that clarity. Sorry, Councillor Wilson. I just wanted to get that clarity in.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Okay, I see no more. Oh, Councillor Vanderbeek.
Trying to find that cursor to get to the mute, or the unmute button is sometimes a challenge. Never mind sharing a meeting. I'm not trying to put a bug in this. I just like to ask a question. So what I heard from the delegate is that what I think I heard anyway was that the advisory committees are looking for a way to hold an event where they can all get together. So let's forget COVID for a minute. Outside of COVID, is there room somewhere, I don't mean is there room physically, I mean, is there a way for the advisory committees to socialize together as a group? Not run a meeting, a social event where they can talk independently or together about who they are and their experience as a member of a committee, and whatever else you talk about at social events. Or are they not able to get together in a social environment formally as an event, simply because they are committees of council? So through you, Mr. Chair, to the clerk.
Clerk Holland.
So through the chair. So there have been some, I would call, not I would call, there have been some reports from the ombudsman that speak to this issue. And it really comes down to whether you're carrying out the business of the city. And if there are discussions going on, it would be very difficult, I think, to monitor when you're getting 14, I believe there's 14 citizen advisory committees together, and you have about 10 people, so it's 140 people roughly. It would be very difficult to monitor the conversations to make sure that the business of the city is not being carried out. I can certainly bring back a report if you wanted to on that sort of thing. I would really want to look at more decisions through the ombudsman and speak to legal about how we could do that and not be accused of having a closed meeting.
So thank you. So through you, Mr. Chair, to Andrea. So does that mean that there couldn't be a volunteer appreciation type event where they just get together outside of COVID?
To the chair. So I think if you have a volunteer event, absolutely. But I was just building on what you were describing, where they could get together and discuss things and things like that. So I think that's a little bit different. That's why if you wanted to hold an event like that, I would certainly look into it a little bit further. I will tell you, I have done it in my previous municipality that I worked at. There were social events with volunteers. But it's definitely something I think we would have to set the framework up because I don't know of Hamilton having one. I don't know if you've had one in previous terms of council or not.
I don't know either, but what I feel like I was hearing was that they were trying to have an event where the advisory committees could get together, not necessarily have a meeting, not discuss city business necessarily, but somewhere where they could socialize. I could be complete, and I don't think Cameron is still on the meeting, and I don't know that it would be appropriate to even ask him, but offline, I'd like to know whether that is in fact what he really was getting at, or whether he was getting at, let's have a meeting and discuss, you know, what we do in each committee. And so I see them as two totally different things. To you, Andrea, through the chair.
So through the chair, so the report that came forward from the LGBTQ advisory committee, they wanted to host an event. And I'll read the portion. They said, as part of the event, each committee would do a presentation. They would talk about their successes. They would talk about the challenges. There would be an open discussion after these presentations to allow for comments, suggestions, feedback, and support. So it really was formal presentations or informal, but still there would be a presentation, there would be discussion, there'd be questions and comments. From my perspective, that would be a meeting because you're having members, you're going to have a quorum of the different committee members. We are inviting all committee members to come to discuss the work they are doing.
Mhm.
Which is
Mr.
the
Van der Beek, your
business of the city.
5 minutes are up. And
Okay. I am done.
I know.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay, so we have a motion that's been duly. Oh, sorry, second time speaker, Councillor Clark. Sorry, Brad.
So I was just going to ask where we are then, Mr. Chairman. We're going to vote on allowing this joint meeting of advisory committee members to occur, and the clerks are going to clerk the meeting just out of an abundance of caution to ensure that we're meeting all of the municipal act obligations. Is that a fair summary as to where we are, sir?
That's how I interpret it, Councillor Clark. But Andrea, did Councillor Clark summarize your report accurately?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So that's
I'm
the
good.
plan.
I'm good. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
I don't see any other speakers here, so it's been duly moved and seconded, and all in favor. That carries 6-0. Let's move to, is there any discussion on the amendments to the outstanding business list? Seeing none, I need a mover and a seconder to approve the changes. Moved by Pearson, seconded by Vanderbeek. All in favor? That carries unanimously. We're going to move on now to confidential. Can I please have a mover and a seconder to approve the closed session minutes of March 25th? So moved by Pearson, seconded by Collins. Seeing no questions or concerns. Oh, Councillor Pearson. Did you wish to speak,
Sorry,
Councillor
Mr.
Pearson?
Chairman, I just want to be sure I was here. Hang on, because I think I missed a meeting and I just want to be sure if I'm moving it.
Would
Hang on.
somebody else like to move it then? Okay, Angie's going to get back to us. Just one sec.
I think I was here on that.
Yeah, you were.
Sorry,
Yes,
I
you
was
were
here.
there.
Yeah, I'll move it. Thank you. Sorry. I've had a few funerals and deaths, so I can't remember where I've been.
Okay, the vote's up.
Thanks.
Carry 6-0. 18.2 is a fraud waste investigation update. It's an information report. Do members wish to go in camera to discuss this information report?
Mr. Chairman, I'd be
Council-
prepared to move to receive it, and if there's a
Second
seconder to that.
Councillor Pearson seconded.
Sure.
Is there discussion on it?
I have a question on it.
Oh, Councillor Wilson,
Camera.
you have to go in camera if you have a
Yep, go in
question. on it.
camera.
Okay, so may I have a motion to move into closed session pursuant to section 9.1, subsection B and C of the city procedural bylaw 21-021 and section 239-2, subsection B and C of the Ontario Municipal Act 2001, as amended as a subject matter, excuse me, pertains to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees and labor relations or employee negotiations. So I need a mover and a second to move into camera. Moved by Pearson, seconded by Wilson. All in favor? It carries 6-0. So, public, the meeting will continue following the closed session portion of the meeting when you see the members of council rejoin the meeting. A reminder to all members of committee to please ensure you move into a closed session portion of eScribe. Before we move into closed session, I would like to ask all members of the public to please now exit the WebEx meeting. As well, staff that we will notify related to item 14.2 are also now asked to please exit the WebEx meeting. So unless you're associated with 14.2, I need you to exit the meeting and we can go into closed session now. Do you need to vote on that, Angela? I don't see you coming up.
We're in camera, we
so-
vote by
oh, yeah.
hand.
Okay,
Yeah.
carried.
Yeah. Now you have to flip to back into open session on your agenda thing.
You just took away what I was just, my roadmap told me to say, Councillor Pearson. Thank you
Sorry.
for doing that for me.
So committee members, we are back in open session.
Okay, can I now ask that all committee members be ensured that they are, nope. So I'd like to move into seconder then to approve the following, that report AUD 210003 respecting fraud and waste investigation update be received and remain confidential. So I need a mover and a seconder to that. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Vanderbeek. All in favor? And that carries 6-0. Motion to adjourn. By Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Clark. All in favor? And that carries 6-0. Well, have a good Masters weekend, everybody. I got my
Mr.
green
Chairman.
jacket on, so.
Great job, Mr. Chairman. Thank